good morning. Autumn is officially here and you can certainly feel a drop in the temperature, although it's quite nice today. I must admit the sun is actually out. So this is a crochet video that I was promising. I was requested it by a subscriber, so I hope you're going to enjoy this. And ta-da! Here is our little chocolate orange cover. Obviously it's a little pumpkin, as you can see. Now I have done this style very similar for the Forever Rocher, so I did the tiny one, but I haven't done it on this size. For some reason I thought I had. I went through all my videos and I couldn't find it, so I thought, let's go for this. I've gone for sort of more of a muted sort of squash pumpkin colour, but obviously you can choose whatever colour you want. So we've got a little curly bit at the top. Which way around are we? I don't know whether I've even got it right way around. I have. And inside, of course, we have our chocolatey treat, but it doesn't have to be chocolate. Anything that will fit inside there. Now I'm going to pop my chocolate out, and the thing is with these, they will actually, if I get it the right way around, sit. Let me pop it like that so you can see. It will sit quite well without the orange, so you can still use it as a autumn or Halloween decoration. You can do it in any colour you want. You can do loads of different colours because the autumn shades are so beautiful. So this is what we're going to do top down. I hope you're going to enjoy it. Please pop a comment below if you do enjoy it. Don't forget this is in UK terms, so you may need a conversion chart if you're not used to that, because it can make a difference and does cause some confusion. I am very aware of that. Now, if you do enjoy my channel, please don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, clicking on those buttons, and let's get going basically, and let's get some little pumpkins made. So here is our little pumpkin. Now it's easy, but it can get a bit tedious. I'm warning you when I get to that. So you might want to put some music on and just fast forward that. Whatever you want to do, whatever works for you. But yeah, I know myself that little bit because we're repeating so many different things. So let's get into what we actually need. I have here, again, your colour choices, but these are just double knit yarns. These are both Stylecraft yarns as well, which are lovely yarns. I do love their yarns, and they're not expensive. I have a tiny weeny bit of stuffing. It was just to add a little bit into there so as it doesn't sort of fold over too much, but you don't have to do that. You could stuff a little bit of wool in it or something like that. Now the hook size we have is a 3.5mm crochet hook. I don't know whether you can see the number there. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. 3.5. I have a little stitch marker, again optional, you can count if you want. I have my needles, I have a little pair of scissors, and over to my side here I have my pattern, and I also have a paper and pen because I like to write everything down. So we're going to start with this gorgeous orangey brownie. I'm not quite sure what you would call it. It's almost a mustardy colour, isn't it? So we'll move everything else out of the way. Just pop it to the side of me. My needles have now stuck to my scissors, but that's fine. And let's get going. I mean, my orange is in there, so obviously this is an optional thing as well, because you can pop anything in here. We've discussed this before. It makes just a little gift cover, shall we call it. So it does stand quite nicely, you can see. So we'll pop that in. We'll pop it to that side. The sun is really weird today. As I said, it is autumn, but it's gone a little bit darker, but then the sun is out as well, so it's creating some strange shadows. So I'm sort of struggling a little bit with the light. Now I know this is gonna, I'm just looking at this is gonna roll about, isn't it? I know it's going to roll about. I need a basket or something. So I'm rummaging behind me as we speak. So now I've emptied everything out. Now this isn't officially a basket for my crochet, but it will do because I can't get to my other one. So that, at least my wool's not going to run off the table now. So this is going to start like many of my items do. So I'm sure those of you who are familiar with my work will go, oh yeah, we're doing that bit. So I have a slip knot onto my hook. I am going to make 2 chain because this is how I start my amigurumi, and the first bit is very amigurumi-esque. And into this very first chain I'm going to make 6 double crochets. Remember, UK double crochets, it will make a huge difference if you've missed that bit. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Don't worry if that comes loose, because all you've got to do is pull it up and it's all tight again. Now we now need to increase that, because obviously that's nowhere near big enough for our chocolate orange, so we're going to do another 2 double crochets, well not another, we've only done 1 in each, haven't we, but we're going to do 2 double crochets into every one of those 6. If you're not sure where number 6 starts, count from the back. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it is actually there. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to see. So 2 double crochets, so that's 1, 2 double crochets in our second one, 1, 2 into our third, 1, 2 into number 4, into number 5, and into number 6. So there we go. So we now have 12. I'm just pulling that again just to tighten it up. It won't actually, if you look, if you did get a little bit of a hole, it won't matter because that's going over it. But it is nice to keep your work tight if you can. So we're going to be increasing again exactly the same method. So it's 2 in each, but this time it's 2 in each of the 12 stitches that we've got to give us 24 stitches. So here we go. So I'm just going to count the individual stitches. So that's 2 in that one. That's number 2. Number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, 10, 11, and just one more with 2 in it, and 12. So this is the very top of the orange. This is the bit that actually is going to be covered over, so you can sort of see it's that sort of sizing. Let me turn it over so it's easy to see. So that is what you're sort of looking at by the time you get 24 stitches. But obviously that's not enough, but now we need to also change our stitch. We're going to be working in treble crochets, again UK treble crochet, so watch for that one. But before we set off on that, I'm going to do a slip stitch into the next one. So just slip stitch there, so it's ready. In fact, I need to write that down because I've got to do these patterns written up. So I do need to make sure I'm thorough. Sometimes I write in such shorthand, I go back to my patterns and I don't even know what I've written. So we do need to work in trebles now, but as with any treble round, treble row, you start with 3 chain. So that's why I did a slip stitch. So 1, 2 and 3 is our first treble of this round. Now the combination we're going to work on is going to be 2 trebles and then a 1 treble, a 2 treble, a 1 treble. So we're increasing, and we're increasing by 12 stitches, so we should end up with 36. But because this is our first one, this is counted as our first treble. So we're going to do in the base, can you see where that little hole is there, the base? We're going to do another treble. So that first 2 stitches there is the equivalent of my increase, so that is going to count as a stitch. The next one is just a individual treble. Yeah, so that's our first combination. So now we're going to do a 2, 1, 2, 1 and 2, 1 all the way around, and you'll know where you get to. As much as I have a stitch marker out, that is more for when we do the double crochet. I don't really need it for this because it shows you where we're going anyway. So 2 in that first one, 1 in that second one. We have a 2, we have a 1, we have a 2. I'm really tempted to sort of skip back to a half treble here because I've been doing a lot of half trebles with the doll hats. So I'm finding it hard to do a treble. It's a problem when you've been doing the same stitch on certain things. You just sort of skip back into it. So remember, 2 in the one, 1 in the next one, a 2, a 1, a 2 and a 1 all the way around. Every now and again, just check, make sure you have done that, because sometimes I've got it wrong and I've ended up doing 2 and a 2 and a 1 and a 1 and things like that. So remember, it's just alternating 2 in 1, 1 in 1. Oh. There we go, and I nearly got my stitches caught up there. So that is a 2 and a 1. Now don't forget, if you think any of this is a little bit fast, say if you were a brand new beginner, you can slow it down in the settings, so don't worry about that. It's just my voice sounds silly, but just pop some music on and turn my volume down and just slowly watch the stitches if you're not sure. But basically, if you can do a treble, which quite often most people can because they've started with granny squares, you will be able to do this. Just take your time. For those of you, as I say, who are used to what I do or are more proficient in your work, when you get to the next bit, I'm sure you're going to be sort of whizzing off to finish the work. So here we go. So we've got 2 stitches left, you can see, which is great because we needed 2 and a 1. So that meant I got the right amount of stitches. It's always good feeling when you get to that point, because you do sometimes worry, have I added one in? Have I missed one? But no, we did it, so I'm happy with that. Now when we get to the end, we do need to do a slip stitch join, which we're going to do the slip stitch join even in the top of the 3 chain you started with. Now because it's a chain, you see I've split that there, sometimes when it's a chain it's harder to get into than a stitch, so that is our slip stitch. Now it looks a little bit wibbly wobbly, don't worry about that, because as we go on with our sort of orange, it will shape around. So that's roughly where it sits at 36 stitches. Yep. Now we're going to start our combination to get this lovely rib. I love a rib in crochet. I know some people say you can't do one. You can. There isn't 2 different ways of doing it. That's one, but there is another one which is sort of a super cute one and a finer one, I think. But we're going to carry on with this system, which means we do have to start with 3 chain, because these are all trebles, but they are front post and back post trebles, which is what confuses people a bit. I still get confused because I'm always going like, is that the front one or is the back one? Basically, we're alternating. So if you did do one wrong and you went the other direction and you did a front, then a back, or a back, then a front, it won't actually make that much difference. So we're going to go with this stitch. It looks a bit weird if you've not done it. So with a treble, these are posts, yeah? You can see the individual posts in the stitches. So that is where we're going around the post, not in the top of the stitch. So it looks like this. Now this is my front post treble, because I call it that because I go from the front. I hope I'm saying that right. So yarn round as if I'm doing a treble, find the post. So I've got my post here. I'm going to go in the front, this side of it, and I come out the other side of it. I grab my yarn, pull it through, and you can see you've got 3 stitches on the hook, which is like you would for a treble. So treat it like a treble then. So it's 1 and 1. That's it. That one is easier than the second one because we have to come in from the back. So yarn round, we come in from the back this time. This is why I'm not sure whether it should be front or back, because we go over the front just to confuse matters. We grab the yarn, we pull it through. This one's trickier to hold, and we complete it as a treble. We'll do a few more slow ones like that. So yarn round, I'm going in from the front, around the back, pick up the yarn, 3 on the hook, 2 and 2 as a treble. Okay, yarn round, we come in from the back, around the front, pick up your yarn, and we pull it through, 1 2. Okay, so this one I'm going from the front round the back, pull it through, treble treble, yarn round, in from the back round the front, pull it through, treble treble. So when I say front, I'm going from the front. When I go back, I'm coming from the back. That is the way I find it easy to remember for myself. So yarn round, we go front. My pussycat's crying at the door. We go yarn round, we go back. This first round is harder. After you've done this first round, it's easy to see, so don't worry too much if you're not used to it. Front and back. Oh, no, I didn't put my yarn around my hook, so remember to do that. It does fall off if you're not careful as well when you do that one. Yarn round from the front. So we're going around these posts. Yarn round, around the back. Yarn round from the front. Yarn round from the back. From the back one, it's just a case of sort of folding your work so you can get in there. So around the front's easy because you can see it, but when you go around the back, it's not so easy. So round, from there, round. Now what I do is I sort of like just fold it a little bit so I can pull it through and then complete the stitch from the front, from the back, front, and back. From the front, from the back. We're almost there. Like I say, it's not a bad stitch, it's just that pulled through too then, isn't it? It's just getting used to it. As soon as you're used to it, you go, oh, yeah, that's easy enough. But if anything that's new might feel a little bit strange, like anything we learn, I think the hardest one for me to learn like that was the crocodile stitch. Love that stitch. Very time consuming, unfortunately. So that's why I've not done a lot of projects with it. But it creates a lovely design. We're almost there. Sorry, I'm just thinking about that crocodile stitch. I made some little like dice bags. I can't remember whether I did it as a video. I don't think I did. Perhaps we should do that. Make great gifts. Sort of buy some nice dice and make a little bag. I might have to think about doing that one. But it would be a long video, I do warn you, because the stitch itself just does take a little bit of time. But well worth it. Right, are we there yet? We got one more. Right, we are now round. Now you have to make sure you really do finish this. We're round to where the chain is. So we need to slip stitch in the top of that chain. So that is our first round of this actual sort of rib. Yeah, it is a rib. We're going to call it a rib. Now, this is where you're going to have to start deciding on your fitting. I know I had somebody who said they'd made a chocolate orange cover and they said it was too small to go over, and I suspect that was down to tension or the yarn, because remember, yarns can vary. So at this point it needs to sit like this. Yep. From then on we're going to work down here the same row. Now I've got written down 6 rows and check. I would recommend that for yourself. You need to make sure it's fitting, because it's a rib, it does stretch, so it is quite good, just to make sure your tension is okay. When we get to that 6, so those of you who are going to sort of whiz off or pause me and carry on and doing it, I'm doing 6, then I'm stopping, and then we will refer from it to that from there. So let's get going. If you're staying with me, hello. I will carry on chuntering. That's why I say you may want to put some music on, but here we go. So we have our 3 chain. Yep. Now, can you see this one sticks up, this one sticks back, so you can sort of see where it's going. So because this sticks up, it's easy, just go straight through. Yeah. The other one, because it sticks back, has to be the back one. But again, just fold it over. You'll get quicker at it. This one sticks up. Love the front ones, they're so much easier. And this one sticks back, so we can go behind. And hopefully, if I did them nicely alternate, I shouldn't have a problem. You'll soon find out if you haven't, which really you should check each round before you continue, because all of a sudden you'll have 2 that stick forward together or something like that. But don't worry about that. We'll be okay. So that was a back. You see how much quicker it is than when we did that first round. That's why I said the first round's a bit awkward, but after that it's much, much simpler. Yep, can you see it coming there? So we've sort of line following line, basically. So my next one, have a little look. It is front. Sometimes it is worth just like giving it a little stretch or something like that, so you can double check where you've got to go. So front and back. And front and back. So we're about halfway now, and it's also starting to curve down. You can see how we're starting to get that shape for our orange. So front, back, front, and back. So it starts to flow a little bit better now. So this is our first. As I say, we'll do 5 more after this for those who are now disappearing off, and then we will have a look. So if you want to fast forward or however it works. Oh, my wool's squeaking a little bit. It's funny, sometimes it does that. I think it's when you sort of your tension's slightly tighter, your wool squeaks. Well, the wool doesn't actually squeak. That would be strange, but you know what I mean. So we're almost at the end, so keep an eye on that one, because this is where you can sometimes miss the stitch. So we've got that one. Now, can you see how close they are? Because that almost looks like it blends in that. Just give it a stretch and you can see there is another stitch there. It is easy to miss because I've done it. That's why I'm mentioning it. So there we go. And then slip stitch into the top of our 3 chain. If you have pen and paper, it is time to mark it down. So that's marked down my first round. I am now going to do 3 chain and continue exactly the same as I just did with that last one. But you can see it even more now. So the ones that sit up, sort of nice, sort of high ridges, we're going from the front, and the other you go from the back. So also do watch though, because well, let me just do this one first, then I'll show you why I'm saying watch. Right, so for example, I can see the holes because I'm used to where it is, but sometimes you can end up going in the wrong bit. So sometimes you need to give it just a little stretch just to see where it is, and then it just makes it easier. Because otherwise you might pick up another piece of the stitch and things like that. So just take your time and position it correctly. And if you don't, just undo it and do that little bit again. Sometimes we all catch stitches, we all split stitches, it all happens. So don't worry about it, just take the stitch out and continue. I know I like to show you sort of warts and all, so you will see that I make mistakes. It's as simple as that. You know, like then you drop stitches, you split stitches, you pick stitches up you shouldn't, you forget what stitches you're doing. I've done that one plenty of times, so you do need to adjust what you're doing. This little box is working quite nicely as a yarn box. Not what I planned, but it's working. Now I decided I was going to roll these into proper balls because I was coming towards the end of the yarn and it was just getting in such a tangle. So I sat there for sort of half an hour rolling the balls up. I do like to see them like that, you know, the old-fashioned sort of ball of wool, rather than in the sort of obviously the manufactured balls. It's just time consuming, that's the only problem. I think the hardest one is from the back, not so much the stitch. The stitch is not hard, but what I find difficult is like, yeah, we wrap round and you've got to make sure that doesn't drop off, because look, it's so easy for you to lose that little sort of round the hook bit, and then you've obviously not got a treble. So you do need to make sure you're careful with that. Sort of find a way, sort of like, then I've got my finger on this bit. It's just a way of developing how you crochet. You'll find your own little ways of doing it. Oh, the cat's given up now. She'll have gone to go to sleep on my bed. She is funny. Sometimes she'll not bother coming in here, but if I shut the door, then of course she wants to come in, doesn't she? So, and I have shut the door because there's other people at home today, so I don't want to be making too much noise, or them to be making too much noise. Right, where are we? Don't forget this last stitch. There we go. And we're going to slip stitch join. And like I say, you can really see its shape coming. So start with 3 chain. I better write down what stitch I've done. That was my second. And so have a look how it's going on the orange, because we can see we've got a nice curve. Oh, see how that's fitting on there. It's made me think of something that made quite a cute acorn, wouldn't it? Perhaps we need to do an acorn. That's the problem. I crochet something, and while I'm crocheting it, I've got other ideas going off in my head, but I can sort of see different shapes. So yeah, that might be one we will be doing. Get ready for the acorn. Is acorn autumn or winter, do you think? A little bit of both, isn't it? They're all starting to form on the trees. I know that. Right, let's get going with this one again. Because we've got quite a few acorn trees where we are. But then I know people do use them for Christmas decorations. They paint them up and things like that, don't they? So I'm not quite sure. Perhaps somewhere in the middle. So it needs to be something I need to think about soon-ish. But I think after this one, generally I think I need to get going with my Christmas items. I know some of you have been looking at my other videos, which is lovely to see. I can see you're all starting to plan for Christmas. And I do understand that. I know myself, you've got to plan so far ahead, haven't you, when you're a crafter, or if you're making gifts for people, or I don't know, you're doing charity products. It's, yeah, you need your time, don't you? I am a little bit late, I am afraid, at the moment. But because this is such a quick little project, hopefully it's going to be good. I will do the pattern to go online. If people do want to buy the pattern, I'll pop the link for my website, because I've got other ones as well on there that aren't on YouTube. So you might want to have a little nosy if there's any you fancy on there. I know not everybody likes to read a pattern, but I know some of you are like me, and even if you watch it on here, it's just nice to have a pattern in store. So if you wanted to do some crochet and you haven't got time to watch YouTube, you can pick your pattern up and take it with you basically, can't you? That's what I've been doing over the last few days. My mum's had some hospital appointments, so I've been going with her. So I've had a bag full of crochet, some patterns, my Kindle, and I just found a little quiet spot and sat doing some crochet. I don't know about you guys though, if you take your crochet out, do you find people sort of sit there staring at you while you're doing it? Because they're fascinated, not because they're being rude, but they're fascinated. So I decided to find somewhere where there wasn't anybody. I found a little quiet waiting room and went in there. So otherwise you end up just sitting there talking about crochet, which is lovely. But when you need to get some work done, it's not lovely. Right, where are we up to? Oh, we're round already. Last one. And slip stitch. Now again, watch it, because you can see how it goes sideways. So you do need to find the top of it. Otherwise you get a funny shape there. 3 chain, ready to start the next round, and mark down. So that is round 3. Off we go again. Or not. There we go. So from the front and from the back. It's like a little mantra you'll have in your head as you're doing it. You'll be going front, back, or if you're like me, you'll be doing it out loud and driving everybody mad in the house. I sort of like talk through a combination of a pattern, and I just constantly say it then. There we go. I've just had a little look at the clock on my phone. I was worried this might be, because as I say, it's a little bit repetitive, this, isn't it? I was a little worried it might be a very long video. But I'm actually surprised at how quick that bit has gone. We're approximately half an hour at this point. But obviously I was talking at the beginning, so you've got that time to take off. And when you're doing it yourself, obviously you'll be concentrating, not listening to me, so you might find yourself a little bit quicker. Your first one always takes longer anyway. As soon as you've done your first one, you might find you speed up. Let me know if you put anything sort of different. I was going to say strange, that's the wrong thing to say. If you know, obviously I advertise these as chocolate orange covers or chocolate cozies, things like that. And I know we've discussed in the past, some people have said socks. other brands of chocolate, a gift box. There's all sorts of different things you can still put in them. Obviously you sort of want them roughly round. I mean, you can do a fruit treat. I don't know, say if it was I don't know, a teacher's gift or something like that. Perhaps you want to put fruit in it, an apple, or even a real orange. But yeah, I'm curious to know what some of you have done. So if you have done something a bit different and put something in a bit different, let me know. And so pop a comment below, because it also helps other people. So if they're thinking, oh, I don't really want a chocolate orange, what else can I put in? Well, it gives them an idea to help us all along. Am I round? I think I am. No, one more stitch. Like I said, this is so easy to miss, this last stitch. You do have to be careful. And our slip stitch join into the top of our first 3 chain from the round, 3 chain, and mark it down. Now, I know this is an actual orange, chocolate orange I'm doing now, but I don't really notice they do a chocolate orange mint. That doesn't make any sense, does it? But it looks like a chocolate orange, but it's mint, and it's very, very nice. So I think I might get hold of one of them to do the Christmas ones, because don't you think mint chocolate sort of, well, over here at least, you sort of think of it as a very Christmassy thing. You know, with your after 8 chocolates and sort of, I'm trying to think, there's another one in there, is it Elizabeth somebody, I can't remember, that does mints as well, you know, like the wafer mints and things. So I think mint does seem to be very Christmassy. So I think I might have to get one. That's my excuse. And then I can save it for Christmas, can't I? But yeah, to do my Christmas pud covers, I might get one of those. I know they're already in Tesco. Last time they had them, they sold out so fast though. So might be worth getting a couple for gifts. If there's anything you can think of as well, if you suddenly think, oh, I'd love to have a so-and-so chocolate orange cover or something, I'm always open to sort of suggestions. I can't promise you I can make a good job of it, but if it's something I think I can try, I will do. You know, I'll have a go and sort of try and share it with everybody. So if there is anything you think, oh, I'd love to see a so-and-so, just drop me a comment below and I'll have a little nosy and have a little go. What round did I say I'm on? I'm on 4. Am I on 4? No, I'm actually on 5, aren't I? Yeah, this is round 5. Some funny noises outside. I think they're doing some grass cutting. I can hear some sort of machinery. I don't think you'll be able to hear it on here. Well, I'm 100% sure you won't be able to, but I can hear it. Am I round yet? Yeah, like a couple more stitches. So I'd said we'll do up to 6 rounds and then we'll look and sort of you can sort of guess sort of how your tension is going by that point. So slip stitch in there, 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, mark it down. So that was 5. We're going to just do this one and then we're going to look at the orange, and then some of you guys who've sort of gone further forward might sort of join us back then to sort of see what we're up to. So let's do this. I mean, there is 36 stitches round if you're wanting to count and make sure your stitches are okay. But I think because of the design of it, you don't really need to worry about that, because you'll know if you've gone wrong, because all of a sudden you can't get your hook in where you should be going and things like that. Oh, dear me, I am getting in a tangle there. Where am I going? Sometimes our brain does wander off. So try and keep your sort of work comfortably loose as well, otherwise you're going to give yourself a right hand ache when you're doing these. If you're sort of too tense like that, it is uncomfortable, so you do need to try and relax with your work. That is also sometimes the reason that, especially if it's a double crochet, that your work might come out too small. I was really bad for that to start with. Everything I made came out too small because my tension was so tight. I mean, it's good to have a good tension because it makes it neat, it certainly does, but it will affect your sizing. Looking at this, I'm pretty sure we are going to need another round, but we will look, and that's when, like I say, I want you to assess your own work and see whether you might not. If your work's a bit looser, you might not need more. Last few stitches. Oh, Pussycat's back. She's just mowing outside the door. I don't really want to sort of pause to let her in, and apart from the fact if I let her in, she's going to be on the table and she'll try pinching my wool. Last stitch. Oh, shall we let her in? I think I might have to. I guarantee she'll sit in my light. Let's have a look how this orange is going though before I do that. So our orange, our cover, and let's have a look. So yeah, as I mentioned, I'm pretty sure I need one more. So we will have done 7 rounds after that first bit, okay? So we will have done sort of, obviously this is just a single round of just half trebles, and then we start and we've got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, but that doesn't count that first round because that first round was just the first time you did the backwards and forwards. So for the straight rounds we've done 6. See how easy it is to count because you can see the rows here. So I'm going to do one more round of half trebles. I am not at all. I'm going to do one more round of trebles, and then we'll start to finish off the orange. As you can see, the last bits I've done are just double crochets, so again you can adjust that to how it suits you. But yeah, my orange is fitting nicely there, isn't it? So pop it out. Oh, she disappeared again now, so I won't go and let her in. I'll see if she makes another noise, I'll let her in. So we start with our 3 chain, and this is our round 7 from when we started counting. So 36 stitches to go, and then we're going to change our stitch combination. I had originally written down 7, but I was sort of doubting myself because, as I say, sometimes when I write, I've got to start writing a bit neater because I just give myself harder work, so then I have to rewrite everything. I just think sometimes my brain works faster than what I'm doing, so when I'm writing things down, it ends up in this strange shorthand that I can't always access myself. I think that's about halfway. Let's try and keep my work higher up here because somebody did make me aware, which, you know, more for me, I should have known, that obviously if there's subtitles on the work, if my work's down here, you can't see anything, can you? So I do need to try and keep it higher, even though I do have a tendency to pull the work towards me. I know I do, it's a really bad habit, but if I'm crocheting myself, that's how I'd crochet. But obviously for video, I need to sort of put my hands out a little bit further. Just a couple more to go. No, more than a couple, but nearly there basically. Now we've got a couple. That's one, and our very last one is there. We're going to slip stitch join. Now this is where your stitch marker might come in handy. No, we're not going to slip stitch join because I split it. There we go. Now we slip stitch join, and I'm going to do one chain, because that one chain is not going to count as a stitch, but it's going to be the start of our double crochet round. So stitch marker in. I'm only going to do a couple of rounds, so it's going to be just 2 rounds of 1 double crochet into every stitch. Now first time round it looks a bit weird because of all the ridges, but the stitches are there if you look closely. So I'm going to go into the one directly below the chain I've just done, and then it's there. Can you see? You can see the holes at the top, so we need to make sure we're going through both parts, and it's just 1 double crochet in everything. Again, UK double crochet. I know I keep reminding, which might be a bit annoying, but it's easy to slip into sort of what you're used to. Again, I've done it myself, so that's why I do sort of repeat myself at times. So it's just a double crochet. Now by doing the double crochet also, it tightens it round a little bit. You can alter your shape of your crochet just purely by going, say if you did a row of trebles and then a row of half trebles and then a row of double crochets, you would find your work would, if it was rows, you'd be getting narrower, just purely because they're shorter stitches but they're tighter stitches. So you can actually manipulate the shape of your items quite nicely by changing sort of from double crochets to trebles to all sorts of combinations. Have to have a little play and see what you think with that. It's great when you're doing the doll clothes if you want like a subtle change, or you've got a stretch to go over certain body parts. You would use maybe a half treble, and then if I want it tighter or solider, I would go on to a double crochet, something like that. Right, we're round on our first round, lots of rounds. So I'm not going to slip stitch join this time. It's double crochet. I can work in an amigurumi style. In fact, I need 1 more stitch there, and I'm just going to pick up that first stitch and just go round again. So this is our last round, and the base of our pumpkin, I keep wanting to call it an orange. I know it's going on an orange. I don't know, it's because the colour I'm working with. The base of our pumpkin will be done, and there's only the top bit which doesn't take much at all. So 36 stitches, and we will have done. Not that I know how many I've just done because I didn't start counting. Doesn't take a lot of yarn either, these little oranges covers, you know, if you're making gifts. So if you're doing some Christmas ones, or you're doing like 10 pumpkins, I don't think you get 10 maybe out of a ball, but you get quite a few out of a ball of wool. Oh, you might do. That might be a challenge. How many did you get out of 1 ball of wool? This ball of wool had already been started, so I can't work that one out. Although the simplest way to do that was when I finished this, you'd weigh it. You know that a ball is usually 100 grams if it's a double knit yarn, and it'll give you a rough idea how many you're going to get out of it, or how many balls of wool you'd need if you were doing a lot of them. Right, we're round, 1 more stitch, and slip stitch join, and grab my little scissors that are stuck to my magnet. They're a pain when it does that, but at least it means you don't lose your needles, which is good. And we'll pull it through. Take my stitch marker out, and let's double check we have a nice fit on our orange. The orange is starting to look a little bit scruffy, isn't it? Bless it. Over we go. And yeah, I'm happy with that. It sits nicely, and also if I take it off, I know it will sit nicely without the orange inside. We'll leave it inside the orange for now though, because I do find, you know, to sew these bits on, it's easier to do it on the orange rather than off, because it sort of keeps the shape. So we'll pop our orange there. Can't see that part of my camera because the stand's on it, so I'm not sure what I'm looking at. So we will change our wool over to this gorgeous green. I love green, as you may have guessed. It's one of my favourite colours, and everything's green. I'm really bad. So, slip knot on the hook. This is all double crochets. So we're going to start like we did the top of that with 2 chain. We're also going to start with the 6 double crochets into that first chain. Can't say each first chain. There is only one, isn't there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now our next round is literally just 1 double crochet into each of those 6. Now this is tight, this pulls in a little bit, so you might need to watch your stitches. This is a dark yarn, so I'm hoping you're going to be able to see it well enough. So, and again, talking about dark yarn, I think the sun's just gone in me as well. So we have just 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. You can see it's curling in on itself, which will drive you mad. We're going to tighten that, and I'm just going to use my little fingernail just to push it back to the side we need it to be. There's another round of just 1 in each of the 6, so again a little bit of a tight round. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and it's turned itself inside out again. So just pop it over either little finger or a needle, just as in a hook or a knitting needle, something like that. Be careful when you do it though. So we've got the tiniest little hat at the moment. We're now going to increase our stitches by just 3, and by doing that you're going to do 2 in the first one, 1. Yeah, that is the combination, and you do that 3 times. So it's 2 1 2 1 2 1 all the way around. So that'll give us 9 stitches. So it's just expanding the shape a little bit. So we have 2 in the first one, 1 in a second one. It'll start staying in position better as well in a minute. We have a 2, we have a 1. Last time for the combination, we have a 2 and we have a 1. So you can see the shape that we're getting now. Now, if you wanted to, you don't have to do a big sort of center point. You can just do a little one like that, which looks really super cute. Up to you. I'm just showing you the option of a larger one. You can stop at any point of this combination to sit it on top of this pumpkin. I nearly said orange again. So now we're going to do 4 rounds of just 1 double crochet into each stitch. Now we've got 9 stitches now, so we'll just count them. We don't need a stitch marker for that. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So that's round 1. So we've got 3 more rounds of just 9 stitches. This is round number 2. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, nearly dropped it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So that was round 2. Round 3, 9 stitches again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that was round 3, and our very last round for this particular combination. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So you can see it's almost like sort of making a little sort of triangle shape, and again, if you wanted to stop there, you could stop there. We're going to expand again though for this combination, and I'm going to do 2 in the first stitch and then 2 individual stitches times 3, which will be increasing again by 3, so we will have 12 stitches. Are we ready for this? So we have 2 in our first one and then 1 in each of the next 2. So we do a 1 and a 1. We're going to repeat that again. So we have a 2, we have a 1 and a 1. Last time we have a 2, we have a 1 and a 1. So now you've got 12 stitches. So we're just going to do 1. I'm just double checking this where I'm going. We have 3 rounds. I was going to say 1 round, we don't. So we're going to count 12 3 times. So off we go. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So that is our first round. So 12 again for our second round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pull a bit more yarn out. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. We've got one more round of just 12s. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So we now have 12. So again, if we put this on our little pumpkin, you can see you could just do it like that. You could sort of bend it over. You could do all sorts, but I'm still going to carry on. We need a few more than that. We have another increase, which is going to take us to 15 stitches. If I'm adding up right, I am, I think, which means we're going to do 2 in our first stitch and then 1 in each of the next 3, like we were doing before, but you can see we're increasing those individual stitches in between, aren't we? And then that goes 3 times. So we have a 2 and then a 1, a 1 and a 1, and we need that again. We have a 2, we have a 1, a 1 and a 1, and the last time we have a 2, we have a 1, a 1 and a 1. So now we have the 15 stitches there, and now we're going to actually just do 1 double crochet round, that's all. So we're just going to count 15 one time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. We do have one more increase round, and that is going to be 2 in the first one and then 4 individuals. So you can see how the numbers are going up there. So we had 15, now we've got 16, 17, we have 18. So we have a 2. Oh, police car going past. And then what did I say? 4, wasn't it? 1, 2, 3 and 4. Increase, so 2 in the next one. And then 1 in each of the next 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. One more like that. So we have a 2. We then have a 1, 2, 3 and 4. And our very last round is just 1 double crochet in each of those 18, and we have finished. So here we go, count 18. That's 2, 3, well, we finished this bit, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18, and a slip stitch because I just like to slip stitch finish. So make sure we've cut off enough yarn there. I've just done that so we can sew it on there. I've got a feeling I've done that a bit short, but you can always add the yarn in. It's just easier if you can use the yarn that's there. So we'll talk about how we're going to structure that. As at the minute you think, how's that going to work? But we'll talk about that when I've finished all the crochet. The last little bit is our tendrils, which could not be easier. Yeah, so we've got these little tendrils. You can do as many as you want. You can make them as long as you want, make them as short as you want. I'm going to start off with 18 stitches. That's how I did these. These are both 18 sort of stitches long, but I say you can change them however you want. So here we go, 18. We've got 1, don't do them too tight, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. Okay, now you can see sort of how long 18 is on here, so you'll work out if you need them longer or not. Now we're going to do 3 double crochets into every stitch. That is literally all it takes to get that curl. So in we go. So we've got 3 double crochets. We have 1, 2 and 3. Into our next chain, 3 double crochets. 1, 2 and 3. Next one, 3 double crochets. It does curl up on you a little bit, which to start with can be a little bit annoying, but as you get further along the chain it's not so bad. So just keep moving it out of your way. So just literally 3 double crochets in every single chain. That's 2, that's 3. Sometimes can be a little bit hard to see the stitches because by putting 3 in a previous one can tighten up the next one along. That's why I said at the beginning, don't do them too tight. I mean, they don't want to be too loose either, but if they're too tight, you will struggle to get into the chain. See how it's curling up now? Let's just pull it out of the way a little bit. So a 3, 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 3. And so just keep sort of trying to pull that down a bit so it gets it out of your way. But you can see how it is curling. 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I've no idea which chain I'm on. I'm just literally thinking 3 in each one. That's all you need to think about. Don't worry about counting the actual chain. But as you can see, we are almost there. 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. I think it's 3 more. Is it 3 more or 4 more we've got left? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And our last one. 1, 2 and 3. Now, as I didn't behave myself on that one, as I mentioned though, make sure you've got enough before you cut this. Make sure you know there's enough to actually sew onto your work. Otherwise, I say it's adding yarn and that's a bit of a pain. So let's slip that through. And basically, if you give it a little stretch, we have our tendril. that is it. It's as simple as that. So let's have a look on how I attach this. Again, this is optional. You can see I just sort of curled it round so it looks like that, and then I just stitched these on where I felt like it. Doesn't really matter. But where's my bit of stuffing? I've got this little tiny weeny bit of stuffing, so I just want to talk through the first bit. Now I have a needle here. Now you know there is two pieces here. There's this one that comes right out of the top. So what I'm actually going to do before I do anything is I'm going to put it back. I'm going to put it back through there, okay? Because it is handy to use to sew into place. Yeah, so it sort of gives it that positioning for that. So you need to decide how you want it positioning. You might want it different to mine, but I'm sort of looking and I'm sort of thinking somewhere about there. So I'm going to stitch this one now. In fact, I'm going to put my finger there, and then I know sort of what the positioning is. Yep. And all I'm going to do is, if I can pick up the stitch, I'm just going to do a little knot. That's it. That's all I've done. I've just tied it down with a little knot to give that little shape. Then I'm going to push the yarn back through. In fact, I'll push it all the way back through here, back through again, so it's out of the way, and we can just trim that one off. Ta-da! So now we need to think about actually attaching it. As I say, I like to attach it on here because it gives me a nice firm base. And if you look, basically, I'm attaching it where the double crochet finishes. So this is the start of the trebles here. So it's sort of around just there where it actually sort of starts to transition into its shape. Tiny bit of stuffing. I mean, you probably don't even need that much. It just helps it hold its shape at the bottom. Maybe I will put a little bit more. Looks like we've got a little tiny wizard's or witch's hat, doesn't it, from there? So I'm going to find its position where it's comfortable. I'm going to thread my yarn that I've hopefully left long enough. I can at least show you the first bit. Decide on which side. I mean, it's the same shape all the way around, but decide where you want to do it, whether you want to do it where you sort of finished the work. I mean, it still doesn't look like you've done lines or anything, so that's good, so you don't have to worry about that. Where should we go? We're just going to go there, aren't we? Let's just go there. Now, you can see I've sort of spread that bottom bit out. I've sort of squashed it down a bit, and I'm just going to pick up, as I say, where the treble starts, and then I'm going to pick up this part and then another bit underneath, and this part. You can see I'm going through both bits there. I think I picked up a bit I shouldn't there, and through. That's okay. So picking up both of those, picking up just where the trebles start. Take your time. I find it hard to actually sew up because I like to sew up really close to my body. I know I mentioned it before, so when I'm doing it on camera, I'm sort of like doing it away from my body, which feels a bit clumsy for me. So I'm just going to try and keep flattening that out because I want that bottom bit to sort of splay out a little bit. But it doesn't have to be perfect, because if you went to a pumpkin patch, they would be all different. So you get the idea of what I'm trying to do there. So I'm just going to stitch it all down nice and tight wherever you want to. You can push it down. You could have made this shorter, you could have made it longer, however you want to play with that doesn't really matter. And then with these, what I do with the first one, so we only need one to sew it on really, I will put it through my needle. I'll do one stitch and then I'll just push it through the needle and cut it off, and then the other one would be the final fixing point. In fact, I ought to do that. I'll do it on the side I've already stitched. I can always take them out myself to alter them, because obviously I will keep this little pumpkin. So if we got that, say we were having it there, I just push that one through. If you want, another way you could do it is to make it really secure. You could then just tie that. You've still got to get rid of these ends though. So if I've tied that, I can then, I would think it needs a bit more of a knot than that, doesn't it? I didn't do this on the first one, but this would work. And then I'm just going to take it through, because remember we have stuffing in there, and the stuffing is amazing to keep yarn ends in place. So I would just do that, and then we can get rid of that one. but it makes it double secure. And then taking up the other one, or not, so I throw my needle away. We would then just stitch it on normally, do another little stitch. In fact, I will do it for you. So I've done another stitch, little knot, and push it through to get it out the way so you can see sort of how it sits. If you want to stitch it in place, you could actually do that as well. Some people do like to do that rather than it sort of just floating about. Entirely up to you. So let's look at our original one and I'll give you an idea of that. So you can see it just hangs down, but I could have stitched it into place, which perhaps would look quite nice. You could sort of make it fancy like that, or just change its positions. You can play around with that. You could do loads of tendrils all the way around. You could make this longer, you can make it shorter. But I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you're going to have a go. As I said, please tag me if you do. I do love to see it when people have made some of my designs, and I'd love to see them in lots of different colours. That'd be really cute. So thank you so much for watching. As I mentioned at the beginning, if you do enjoy my videos, please like, subscribe and share, and I will see you all very soon, but it's possibly going towards Christmas for the next lot of covers. So see you very soon, and bye bye for now.